friends, today I am just kind of taking a day to do some fun stuff for myself. I took everyone out this morning and went shopping for a little bit. Mom wanted to buy the kids some clothes, and we went to Walmart, whatever, and then I went to the bookstore, which you will see some on that here in a minute. And then now everyone is home and I have come out to just explore some places that are fairly near to where my mom lives. I am in the town of Pendleton right now. It's Pendleton, Oregon. And I was thinking about some of the misconceptions, I guess, about Oregon. Not necessarily misconceptions, but just extreme ideas. So there is a lot of extremism here, of course, on the left. A little bit on the right, not too much, but there is a lot of left extremism in Oregon. We all know that. However, I have had people, say, get out of there. What are you doing? Be careful. It's very liberal. It's very scary. It's very horrible. And yeah, some of it is, but not all of it is. I was born and raised in Oregon. I lived here for 33 years. And I didn't even realize how liberal the state was until I got out of here and started hearing from other people where I moved to in Arkansas about how liberal some of the politics are here. And then, as I started looking back and just paying attention to that side of things, yeah, I started to see it. But one thing I want to say is that sin is everywhere. And Northwest Arkansas is known for, Bible belts, conservative, lots of churches, lots of homeschoolers, lots of good people. But there's plenty of sin there as well. There's plenty of the same kind of stuff that you will encounter right here in this small town in Oregon. I can encounter those same things in my small town and the larger towns of Northwest Arkansas. Sin is everywhere, and so we can't outrun it. We just have to try to avoid it in our own lives, right? The other thing is, it's kind of one of those throwing the baby out with the bathwater sort of things. There's a lot of good here, and there's a lot of beauty. I personally love the Eastern Oregon little towns, all of the architecture, the old buildings here. You guys have seen, I have taken some videos of churches and things, and we all know I'm not a churchgoer, and yes, I do believe the steeple is a pagan thing, but the architecture is interesting to me, right? Not the steeple, but the rest of the building is interesting to me, and I admire, neat brickwork and the trim on things and the intricate things. I think it's really beautiful. A time period where people took the time to make things beautiful. Now we just get things up as quick as we can for the most part, at least when it comes to, like downtown architecture, city architecture. So I admire these old buildings, and there are a lot of good people here. There are a lot of conservative people here where I am in Oregon, and a lot of really good people who want to obey the Father the best of their understanding. A lot of people who love Yeshua here, and so we can find the good and the bad wherever we're at. Oregon sounds big and scary, but really those politics are everywhere, right? Because we all have our own mind. The big difference is the overall government of this state is much different than the overall government of my own state, and I think I can trust the government of my own state just a tiny bit more than the one out here, as far as being able to, as far as the conservative government goes. But it really is still up to each one of us to make the kind of atmosphere for our families that we want to have, and to raise our children in the way that we believe is right. And those things can be done wherever you're at. I homeschooled quite a few children here in Oregon, and just didn't encounter any of these yucky things that we know are here, but I don't know, maybe I just lived in a little sheltered small town. So I guess I'm saying, if you're gonna move to Oregon, find a sheltered small town. So I am actually getting ready to head over to one of my favorite restaurants in this town. It's called the Great Pacific, and it's just, I don't know, I like the atmosphere there. And so I've just been waiting for it to clear out a little bit, because everyone else likes the atmosphere there as well, and it's super packed right now. So I'm just going to kind of wander around and see what kind of pretty things I can find, and then head over there to have some lunch and work on a couple of video scripts. And then I think tonight, me and Mom and Lindsay might be doing our back porch chat, so I'm excited about that. All right, hope everybody's having a good day. Talk to you soon. Pendleton is a city on the Oregon Trail, and so you will find a lot of Oregon Trail-ish stuff here. This is a statue that is found downtown in Pendleton, and it's this guy wagon toe basically saying, "Come on guys, let's go." He's leading the trail of covered wagons as they travel along the Oregon Trail. Throughout this week, we are going to be visiting other Oregon Trail sites so you guys can see some of the wagon ruts that are still to be found here, and just some other neat Oregon Trail-ish things. And there are all kinds of different places where you can read little history bits here. Here is some little signs within this park. And I have found that I am not super great about teaching my kids Oregon Trail. It's one of those things that we just kind of learned in school. And so I just haven't really thought about the fact that my kids don't know a whole lot about that heritage and that journey. And we kind of learned that as we were driving out here when we would tell them, different sites, talk about Lewis and Clark, and those sorts of things, and they have no idea what we're talking about. So, for those of you who are interested in this kind of history, look up the Whitman Mission out near Walla Walla, Washington, and the Whitman incident. This is when basically the Whitman massacre. It's a pretty sad story that is that site is very near here, and there's actually I don't know if you call it a museum, just a historical site you can tour concerning the Whitman massacre. And here are just some maps. So this shows the map of the Oregon Trail. And I live right now about here. Right here is where I live in Arkansas. And so where I am is about here-ish. And where I'll be during this week is right in this area. So kind of funny that I was born at the end and lived at the end for a long time, but I traveled the Oregon Trail backwards and ended up at the beginning. Now Pendleton has its own city logo, and it looks like this. It's this cowboy. Pendleton is a rodeo town. They have a very famous rodeo here called the Pendleton Roundup. It's over 100 years that it has been going on here. And here in a little bit, either today or within the next few days anyway, we'll have video of the actual rodeo grounds and all that area there where they have the roundup each year. As I said, Eastern Oregon has some really pretty architecture, especially in their downtowns. A lot of these are, Old West towns that were settled when the pioneers were coming out and making communities here. And the restaurant that I'm going to be going to is at the end of this block. It's in an old Masonic lodge building, and apparently the Masons had their meetings upstairs and rented out the bottom level for people who had businesses. And then this restaurant bought it in 1980 and started the Great Pacific Restaurant. So go in there and see what kind of good stuff they have on the menu now.